Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Should we talk about the DC universe and where it's headed?
Don't get me started on that shit.
Why would you want
So let's not get started.
So
let's get started
overall,
though on it.
Not get started.
All right, so let's preface this. Let's preface this episode. First of all, this is the Chumpcast. Thanks for showing up. This is episode 303.
Howdy doody.
We have been discombobulated for about a month and a half now, probably. Mark's been gone. Brick's been gone. I don't
know where I am.
Mark, I'm going to give you 3 minutes to tell us about the last 3 weeks of your life.
Start off easy.
I went to San Diego Comic-Con. My summer softball 16-inch league was slaughtered.
Nobody gives a shit
to
about
lose
that.
the playoffs. I'm just summing up my 3 weeks for you, dude. I'm not going to go on about it.
That's a bummer.
We were slaughtered and lost the playoffs. Ugh. Slaughtered in the playoffs. We suck. I stubbed my toe 3 nights ago when I was drunk coming home. Well, I was home already, but I got up because Moose barked and freaked me out, and I tried to stop him before waking up the kids. And I stubbed my toe. I snapped the nail back on my toe. It ripped a big chunk of skin off my toe. And I think I broke it.
This is Wiki Feet.
I went to C2E2 this past weekend, and that's the reason why I was drunk 2 nights ago, is because I was coming home from C2E2 and drinking beer all day. Fucking stupid IPAs. Stupid IPAs. Like, let's get Revolution to only serve IPAs, even though they serve a summer ale. That's literally just an IPA. I digress.
10% thick.
Everything is an IPA.
Something is like
at Revolution.
A milk stout in the summer. Milk was a bad choice.
I hate their beers. I'm sorry.
That's why you drink Natural Light, the Natter Days.
I agree.
Coors
so
Light.
C2E2 was okay.
For water.
Leaving the con, I saw a sign up that said, "We heard you, but have some bad news." And it basically said they're never bringing back the red carpet because of environmental concerns. So, yeah, AKA we're losing too much money and we need to make more profit on you motherfuckers. But so I left C2E2. It was a good weekend overall, though. And the last thing, my niece threw up couple of hours ago, right as they were walking out the door, all over my rug. There we go.
I hope you
Sums
had
up
to
my
touch
3
it.
weeks. I
Sounds
did
like you had
touch
a.
it.
It sounds like you had a great time just highlighting all the fun stuff that you had, dude. You're
Yeah,
like,
I
they
was
lost.
thinking-
There's no longer a carpet. There's no carpet involved. And now I'm pissed. Never coming back.
I love that Mark thought that I wanted to hear like about his personal trials and tribulations, when in reality, we all know you went to San Diego Comic-Con. We wanted you to tell us something interesting about it. And instead, I have to listen to you talk about your niece vomiting on your fucking rug.
All right. I will take one more minute to sum up my trip there. What I would recommend for people that maybe want to go or haven't been and are thinking about going in the near future is plan out if you ever want to consider doing a Hall H thing, which is their big auditorium where they like do all the big Marvel phase 6, 7, whatever releases. That's where it is. It's at Hall H. You have to camp out for at least 2 days, which I
That
didn't
sounds
know.
so
Like
terrible.
I told the guy once I found out I was going, I was like, yeah, I think when I get there, I'm going to go to this Hall H, see the new D&D trailer that's releasing. He's like, when are you getting here? I'm like, Thursday in the afternoon. He's like, no, you need to come at least Tuesday and camp out. I'm like, okay, never mind.
Can you imagine, like, at what point in your life would you have actually done that?
If I lived in that area and I went every single year, I'm sure there would be years where I'm like, all right, I did this last year where I don't know. You know how it is with Comic Cons where like maybe one year you dress up as cosplay, maybe the second year you're focused on buying a comic book. Like I'm sure there would be those years where I'm like, I'm gonna switch it up
Man,
and do a huge panel.
I'm just.
I'm sure you would have done it like right after
Yeah,
the Infinity War saga like ended, and you're like, what the fuck are they going to do next? You know, I'm
seriously,
sure like that, like
yeah.
after that Apex, you'd be like, yeah, I'm going to go do it now because of how hyped it is. If you were living in the area,
I think you're drastically underestimating how much I hate being around people. But yeah. Um. Anyways, thanks, Mark, for regaling us with 0 stories.
Oh, last thing. So San Diego Comic Con, if you want to get a more of a perspective on how big it is, I would say it is like if you've been a
Super big.
C2E2, no, it's like 3 C2E2s, but they have it in sections where if you were to break C2E2 into 3 different blocks, one section is like literally just artists and writers and things like that. The middle is where all the mainstream shit is, all the big franchise stuff. So like when they opened up the doors one day, it was like Saturday. I didn't know they were releasing a new Tamagotchi. I didn't even realize Tamagotchis were back. And there were just 9-year-old kids with their dads fucking sprinting full speed to like this big Tamagotchi booth. But they have like the Nickelodeon booth there, the Hasbro booth. And then another section is more for like vendors and sellers of comics and other shit and just the regular booths.
did you get any cool stuff while you were there? Any comic
Other than
gold?
COVID.
I did not get COVID to my knowledge. I did make a pretty big purchase. I purchased a graded comic book. It's the first appearance of Harley Quinn in comics.
Ooh.
So yeah, that was my big purchase. And I actually didn't have to take it home with me because, long story short, I sent it back to the grading company to get a new case on it. So I didn't even take it with me, which I actually kind of liked because I didn't have to worry about it in my bag as I was
That's
traveling.
clutch.
If you don't find Lady Gaga and make her sign that, I'm going to call you a pussy for the rest of your life.
I would. How awkward would that be if like I had a chance? Lady Gaga's like, "Ooh, you got that book? Isn't that the first Harley Quinn? Let me sign it." I'd be like, no, fuck.
You would let her sign it. No, you're
I would
you're a
probably.
coward.
I
You
would
would
let her
100%
sign
let her sign it.
I would.
I would too. Don't get me wrong.
All right,
Shit.
I've spoken enough. I'm done
Yeah,
What if
talking
she's
for a
so-
little
what if she's an awesome Harley Quinn?
That was a good lead up to all of us being tired and fucking crabby after a Sunday.
Yes.
I'm currently getting my house ready to stage so I can sell, which is the most miserable shit of all time because you don't even like get to move out yet. Like it's
Here
the
we
shitty
go
part.
again. We
Yeah,
heard all of
whatever.
Mark's all of his issues. Now we gotta hear Smithers' issues.
Nope.
all
I'm
my
done.
trials and tribs.
That's it.
Selling a house. I have so much things I gotta do. The lawn, whatever.
I haven't even mowed the lawn yet, but you brought it up, so yeah. I'm done though. Brick, what's ruining your life right now?
Nothing. My life's freaking great right now. Football's like I can talk about football, and it's almost reasonable to start talking about it now. So now I'm like letting loose a little bit. That
When do you fly
WB
out for
game,
your draft
the 25th
of this month?
of this month. Yep, we draft the 27th, and then I
All
joined
right.
another big league, and then we're doing
So
the guillotine league, right? We got to re-up the guillotine.
I will make that happen. I think it'll actually. So if you're listening to this, and if you're not in the Discord, you should be. Shoot us
for
a
sure.
message on Instagram or Twitter or wherever, and we will send you an invite link. But I run
The listener league.
yeah, it's basically a listener league, but it's an eliminator league. So like if you're the lowest score that week, you get eliminated completely. You send in your money, which is usually like 10 or 15 bucks. I don't know. We keep it low so everybody can participate regardless of
I think we did like 25 last time.
yeah, whatever.
Inflation, dude. It's 50 now. I'm just kidding. We'll figure, we'll figure it
we're
out.
not raising this because you have an addiction.
Come on, the heat's on.
Yeah, I know. Roll those dice, but yeah. So if you're interested in that, hit us up in the Discord, and we'll get you involved.
Hey, Brick, I have a
Yo.
question.
Sure.
You might know who this is by the way to describe it, but one of my friends who works for Red Bull is in a predicament where it's the first week of football. It's on a Sunday, and he's been asked to help set up for the League of Legends big tournament in Chicago that Sunday night. And he has to get there early and like miss the whole day of football. I know you're not a big League of Legends player, but like, how would you feel about that?
I already know this
butthurt.
answer. Yeah.
Unbelievably butthurt. Why the fuck would I sit there opening Sunday football, get there early, miss the 3 o'clock window? No, thank you. Probably even noon. Just like dreading it. You can't even enjoy the noon games. Wow. Nightmare.
This guy should get fucked.
Full fucked.
Brick, like you span so many different types of nerddom that like you seem one dimensional, but you're actually you're multi-layered. And that's what I appreciate about you.
Thank you. Like an onion, like Shrek. Me and Shrek are boys.
You know what? This is the year that starts in August where we're gonna start gassing each other up instead of shitting on each other. Except you fucking
Hell yeah.
Mark.
Party Pug, what's up? Thanks for joining.
But I want to talk about something good that WB's been doing, which is the Multiverses game that came out, the open beta. It's free to play. You just get to play. It's Smash Bros. Style brawler, while you get to play with like Bugs Bunny, Shaggy, Superman, Harley Quinn, Finn from Adventure Time, Jake, and they have all these mods too already. But the gameplay is actually smooth. It's an interesting alternative to Smash Bros. And I really like how fluid the gameplay is, and it's only a beta too. And they do have, I believe they have Rick coming and Morty coming as well. So free play, it's fun.
So
You run twos.
Warner Bros. Did something right, like out of all of this
Right.
last, I don't know, 6 months.
This might be their saving grace, because what else has happened? Is HBO on the rocks right now, or what's going on?
Let me just play a little.
Snippet.
To us.
All right.
HBO.
A lot has gone on
Get it up.
in the last 2 weeks, obviously. We're not going to have time to go over all of it. If you got a question about it, then message Mark on one of his Discords that we're not invited to. Everybody else is invited to it, but not me and Brick.
I'm not arguing that. I'm just
I
kidding.
wasn't expecting you to, honestly.
Do you have a Mark Nerdy AF Discord?
No. I'm in one other Discord for this company that I work with. It's all comic books. Smithers hasn't read a comic book in fucking 10 years.
And 12
Wow.
hours.
Gatekeeping the comic book
Anyways.
industry.
Fuck you, Smithers.
You haven't read one in 10 years.
Yeah, you
Can't
fucking
say
loser.
fuck comics.
All right.
Mark, I need you to tell me why they
kidding.
canceled Batgirl, and like I get it from a financial aspect,
Whoopsie losses. Case.
but it doesn't make any fucking sense.
I guess it really sucked, even in their eyes. They're like we've done some horrible shit to the fandom, but we just can't. We can't keep this going. We can't let people see this.
If
That's
we
what
put
I'm
this
guessing.
out, there's no coming back from it.
I think it's more financially, though. To be honest, yeah. To your point, I think it comes down to that. And I don't care though. I could care less, and I've said this on record plenty times. I have lost all faith in the DCEU. I do not give a shit what new Aquaman movie comes out. I'll go watch it, but I don't look forward to these movies anymore. I've given up on that. My focus is on the Battinson shit. Like, take that universe and fucking expand it. They're younger. They fucking look more of the part. It's more of the shit I love about DC. So that's what I'm going with.
Noir, crime driven.
Yeah, I like that shit way more.
I like that you've taken a stand on this, and I appreciate that you're not just like, oh, blind DC fan, because there are plenty of those out there, and there are plenty of blind on every other side too. But
it's hopeless.
Fuck that.
Okay, so this is going to be a cheap stunt for them to just like they're going to hide the footage, and then next year or in 2 years they're going to release the footage, already claim the losses from it by just being like, ah, we fucking botched it, cover it with losses, and then release it with the Snyder cut. Yeah, release the Snyder cut. The fans demand Batgirl or whatever. And then all of a sudden,
I don't know.
They make millions.
Would demand Batgirl, but
they'll wait for the right time.
It still
Maybe.
sucks.
They won't.
And the fact that you can do shady accounting and actually make this profitable for you after sinking $150 million into something is kind of a story in itself. But
dude, I feel bad for Leslie Grace, like the star Batgirl, who was playing Batgirl. Imagine she went on Instagram the other day and had to like do a post of her in the outfit and be like, yeah, I can't say I'm not upset, but like all in all, she was being a little bit reserved because of her being an actress. She's being smart about it, but still, how bad do you feel for somebody like that who I could never imagine being an actor. I know they're on set for fucking 16, 20 hours or whatever, crazy shit a day, probably.
Let's not act like they're digging ditches, but
yeah, but still, like, put in all that work for something that nobody's going to see.
For all we know, she did an incredible job and could have won an Oscar for this. Okay, so I don't think.
But what's the reality that people? What's the take on it that the public sees? Oh, it was so bad they couldn't even release it. That's how bad
the reality
movie was.
Probably that it was written so fucking poorly because it's a DC movie.
Right. That's also fair.
It might have had things within the movie that were trying to set up certain parts of the universe more. Like, let's say the Keaton shit. I think there was a scene with Keaton. It might have not just been the movie. It might have been the things that they included in the movie to help, jumpstart other movies that were going to happen, that they said, okay, we can't do those anymore. So we kind of fucked ourselves, and maybe we should just not let anyone see this movie because we actually made promises that now we're going to go back on and maybe not go through it.
I'm kind of curious.
I'm just speculating on shit.
Yeah, between you two Maroons, I'm sure you guys could figure out how. Been playing too much Bugs Bunny.
See? You two Maroons. See?
Anyway, you guys, what comic or Batman comic would you like start off the DC universe with? If you could start it all over, start from point one, where would you want to start the DC multiverse, whatever shit?
The dumb answer is year one, just because. Yeah,
I do like year one.
It's not even that you like it; it's just that it's the obvious kickoff to literally anything, which they've already retconned back to so many times.
Yeah.
So they have shown that in other previous movies. So one that hasn't been done. Is that a harder question then? Significantly harder?
Probably
on the spot.
But year one it's not like, obviously it's the beginning, of Batman, but it also has the thing I like about year one. It isn't even the Batman story in it. It's like the Commissioner Gordon story, where it's like he cheated on his wife and he's going through all this shit, and he just moved from Chicago, I believe, to Gotham. And it's actually more, to me, it was more of like a Commissioner Gordon story than it was a Batman story, and it was great. New 52, I mean, you're gonna hear this and not know what the fuck I'm talking about, but
we can explain.
There's a recent run from like 2011 that does it restarts the whole Batman universe, and they do a lot of cool things. Like, I wouldn't want everything involved, but they do some like really sadistic things with like the Joker, where I guess Keegan kind of portrayed some little things we got in the New 52, where like in the comics, Joker literally cut his face out
Hell
and
yeah, that's
fucking
the
like
one that I was gonna ask
re-stapled it
about.
on and shit like that. Like that was from the comics. So that really dark side, and they're already going down that path. So when I think of like what they should do with this universe now, it's those comics would be what I would go for.
Mark's
Go
like, I just want to
R-rated.
see a dominatrix come and murder everybody and cut their faces off
That'd be sick,
and
dude.
spank each other with it. And
I want to
that-
see a fucking man bat. I don't care how like set in realism this new universe is gonna be. Like, still, just give me a fucking weird, fucking
I think
creepy
that you
ass
could make
man
it
bat.
realistic. Like if you do all prosthetics and 0
Mhm.
CG, I think
Yeah.
you could make him look human enough, but still have like webbing. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I
it'd
don't
be
know of a
You could
better
do
way
so
some
to describe
gross
it.
though.
You could do some really cool silhouettes with like him flying in the moon over the city or some. It would be creepy with those like screeching and stuff too. I always like that mission in the games that they had.
Well, yeah, you could have it be like the Jersey Devil or fucking what's the one that they keep seeing outside of O'Hare? The
No,
monster.
the chupacabra.
No, no, no,
It's
no, no.
no.
It's, fuck. I'll look it up and it'll come to me, but it's fucking pissing me off. O'Hare monster sighting.
O'Hare monster sighting.
Trust me, this is something. Mothman, the Mothman.
The Mothman. Okay.
So apparently, like every 2 or 3 months, there is a Mothman sighting at O'Hare somewhere, and it's kind of freaking me out because that's pretty close to where I live. but there's some like there are many corroborating stories for this, which is really fucking me up about it.
Dude, you're still stuck on Mothman after all this time. We talked about this, I want to say like a year ago, and I know it's been bothering you since.
Yo, if the Mothman can go to O'Hare, the Mothman can go.
That's
to
why
where your
Smithers
house
doesn't
is,
go out.
for
It wasn't
sure.
because of COVID. It was because of Mothman.
100%.
It wasn't because he didn't want to catch COVID. It was because of fucking he didn't want to encounter Mothman. You fucking coward.
I knew it.
I will throw down the gauntlet right now. Listen to me, you Mothman motherfucker. You being attracted to bright lights, you sweater ruining piece of shit. If you
Cool.
want to fucking fight me, I will meet you in Terminal 1 outside the fucking United Club, you piece of shit. You and me one-on-one. Let's go.
You know how many moths he's killed? Probably a dozen at least. Probably at least
If
12.
you got in a fist fight with him, you fucking like hit him in the face. You think it like, you know, when you kill him off, like the dust fucking, it's not, they don't even have insides. It's just fucking like dust and particles. You think that's what
fucks me
he's
up
made
about
of?
bugs like I've been cleaning up my garage. The size of the spiders that I found out there, and the fact that they like run basically on air hydraulics. So when you
Yeah.
kill them, that's why they curl up, because there's nothing pushing air through their limbs anymore.
Yeah.
Science.
It's disgusting, especially when you find one that's like this fucking big.
Yeah.
my
but
God.
Yeah. Fun stuff. Anyways, yeah, fuck you, Mothman. I'll make you my bitch. Trailers?
Fucking moth all over you, dude.
Speaking of unworldly creatures, Little Demon, because we get a chance
Alright.
to talk about Danny DeVito, and why the fuck not? Brick,
And
you
Dan
brought this to
Harmon.
my attention.
That's the reason. I just hear Dan Harmon, co-creator of Rick and Morty and Community, and just like he's just so witty and funny. And I think with the cast that he has, Aubrey Plaza and Danny DeVito, and I'm sure there's more. I didn't look
Danny
into it,
DeVito's
but
daughter, who plays
right.
the Little Demon,
Is yeah.
granddaughter.
No, just daughter, I think. Because voice casting.
Oh yeah, that's right. Never mind. Go ahead.
And it looks good, original, and it looks like I hope it's better than Solar Opposites. Solar Opposites is fine, but
Do you
it's just
think
like,
he's
doesn't
spreading
grab the
himself thin
attention.
right now
Yes.
with this shit?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why they still owe us like 70 episodes of Rick and Morty. And also,
Yeah, sometimes you gotta step away to get your creative juices flowing to come back and maybe make it better. You can't just kind of power through, you know.
so I completely understand your point, but let's pretend here. So I've been watching a lot of Sesame Street, and we just
And
what is it?
Mothman YouTube fucking underground videos.
I forgot how to say. It's like, what if blah blah blah. Anyways, completely just lost my train of thought because I've been drinking for like
Sesame
5
Street.
hours.
Sesame Street.
Street, but that's not Thomas the Tank Engine. Wait, no, that's for later.
Whoa.
That's for the movie.
Okay. I feel like this is trying a little bit too hard, and I know that Aubrey Plaza is kind of like the girl who is always like. Do you remember that time on? I think they were on Conan. It was the entire cast of Parks and Rec, and she just turns to the old guy, the old fat guy who plays Jerry, and just starts making out with him live.
I saw that. Yes.
So she's
I
like
remember that.
25 at this point, and he's like 70. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Like she's just like I feel like crosses that fine line between what's funny and what's okay, this is cringy. And maybe we'll
Yeah.
talk about when we get to recommendations this fucking Nathan Fielder show, which is basically
Oh
Love it.
yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, it's so cringe.
it's too cringe. And that's what I worry about for a show like this. But
Mhm.
we'll see.
I'm more interested in this show from the trailer than I have been in Solar Opposites, to be honest.
It's such a background show.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to something a little more interesting. The better looking of the two Pinocchio upcoming products. This is the Netflix version with Guillermo del Toro. This looks way better than the Tom Hanks version. Ewan McGregor is the cricket. Tilda Swinton's in there. Christoph Waltz. There's way more big names here. This is coming to Netflix in December. This is going to be like their big Christmas thing. I mean, they're dumping
Nostalgic.
shitloads of money into this.
Is there a Christmas theme at all in that movie originally?
I don't know.
Or is he
It's
just
just-
trying to mimic what Tim Burton did with like Nightmare Before Christmas, where he's like, "Oh, I should just release this on a holiday because it's a weird ass fucking movie and it uses this weird animation style."
It's like a whimsical tale as old as time, kind of like generational family movie. So it kind of makes sense to come
A
around.
whimsical tale as old as time. I thought you were gonna just start breaking out into song right there, dude.
Yeah, dude. That's what Guillermo del Toro does perfectly. Is
Guillermo?
whimsical. That's Guillermo del Toro. He does
I'm sorry.
whimsical as perfect as can be.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, like, who do they think they're targeting with the nostalgia for this? Because it's not us.
It's
I-
Tim
our,
Burton
don't-
fans.
it's our
dude.
parents.
I don't
the
remember
Pinocchio
the
peeps.
Pinocchio story other than like, oh, I want to be a real boy. Then you're a real boy, and if you lie, your nose gets big.
Dude, his
a
movies
whale.
are it's for the Tim Burton guys. He's the modern Tim Burton, even though he's probably the same age as him.
I mean, Tim
'Cause
Burton's
he's-
still making movies, so Tim Burton's
I know.
technically
Well,
the modern Tim Burton.
I don't remember the last Tim Burton movie I've seen. Maybe Coraline.
Anyways, I will watch this just because it will be on Netflix, and you'll fucking watch it too. Let's talk about this next one, which I'm actually much more excited for than I originally thought I would be. Although Andor was pushed back several weeks, I'm going to allow this because it looks really kind of sick. They finally get out of this Mos Eisley alleyway that's only a desert and shitty
Mhm.
bars and dives. This is Diego Luna. I mean, so this is the prequel to Rogue One, which was really boring until the third act, right?
Mm-hmm.
We all agree on that. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering how they can try
A
and
really
make this
good third
interesting.
act, though. Yeah.
But we've got a Skarsgård in there, Forrest Whitaker. I don't know, man. I'll give it a shot because it looks interesting. But Disney is not a stranger to cutting a good trailer and then giving us something shitty on the back end.
The Skarsgård that did it played a really good similar role, I feel like, in Chernobyl, where he kind of is like in a leading role or a
Stellan.
position of power
Yeah.
where he kind of needs to make the right decision. I think but he like is a little bit stubborn in that way. But him in Chernobyl, he was incredible in Chernobyl. So that's one reason why I'm looking forward to it. But they could do some pretty cool. They always do the grand, visual effects and grand,
Mhm.
huge landscapes, which is always cool and interesting to see. But Star Wars, so we'll see.
All right. I don't have notes on this, but you guys wanted to talk about Devotion.
I guess we can. The Korean War one.
Brick, I thought you said this looked in quotes, amazing.
It did look really good. I thought it's just like a classic war
Period
movie
piece.
about a like a Navy pilot, which is from what they showed, and they also kind of are bringing racial tensions as well throughout this movie because I think Jonathan Majors is in this, where he's like a an African American pilot in this, but he's like good, which is obviously why he kind of earns respect. But he's also kind of playing between the lines of should he be doing this, should he not be doing this, and then all of a sudden kind of feels like there's be some prisoner of war type situation. But from the landscapes and from like all like the wide camera angles that we saw, it just kind of looks like it could be a really cool movie to see in theaters.
It's going to be like the Remember the Titans, but set in the Korean War.
It's
That's kind of how I saw this movie.
what's that
Where,
movie
yeah,
with Cuba Gooding Jr. where he's kind of like
Pearl
I don't.
Harbor.
I like that Jonathan
his
Majors
legs
is
get
in
like
this.
broken and then he's like,
Oh,
ugh.
I'm a big fan
I
of
forget.
Jonathan Majors from like
He's
Lovecraft Country and
incredible.
stuff.
Yeah, he was
he's really
awesome.
good.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, I'll watch.
That's
him
the only
do
reason I'm
damn
looking
near
forward to it.
everything. So, okay. There was some other news too. Okay, did you guys see the?
Rick
Okay,
and
so
Morty
there-
had a thing coming out. Did you see that?
Who?
Rick and Morty season 6 is coming out
Mhm.
September 5th, and they had a little teaser of like an egg hatching at the Citadel.
Yeah.
Kind of released 12 hours ago, but
Show me some good episodes, and then we'll come back to it.
Bring Szechuan sauce back in McDonald's and make people just fucking
Burn
lose
it
their
all to
minds.
the ground.
that was
Dude,
an all
That
time.
was the best time for Rick and Morty. Is like when people were just fucking raging
People
on each
were
other.
willing to murder you over fucking nugget sauce. That was the best time.
When
You
people
had
would buy
Will-
Szechuan sauce for like $500 a pop, and then they were like released it like a month later. I was like, oh fucking hell.
The fucking dumbest shit. Okay.
Remember, like the guys that would jump up on the counter and just be like, just like fucking run off.
Remember what I was
Like
talking
that.
about earlier about shit being way too cringy?
That's when God was looking down and just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm fucking giving you guys a pandemic. This has been going on for too long. that was the last
tipping
straw.
point.
The Szechuan sauce incidents.
It wasn't
Everyone's
for
like, "Mr. Poopy
conventions and everything
Butthole."
else.
It could have been that too.
Simulation of it all.
All right, fuck. I don't even remember what I was talking about anymore. I'm just so obsessed with the Mothman right now. Did you guys see
The
their
Mothman,
casting
man.
for Devil in the White City? So Hulu's been working on this show with Leonardo DiCaprio, and I believe
Love
that
it.
Keanu, sorry, I'm a little
Keanu.
bit drunk, was cast as the killer in this. I believe
I thought
it is a mini
thought-
series.
I thought Triple H Holmes was played by Leo.
He's the detective.
He's the lead detective. Okay,
That's my
interesting.
understanding.
Okay, did you guys read that book,
I
Devil in the
have
White
it
City?
in my nightstand, and I've been meaning to read it, and I just have not had the time.
Like early on, it's a little bit hard early on because it talks about like the Chicago, how they built like skyscrapers and like how they kind of were forming the city, but it goes into pretty good detail on that. But
Boring.
because that plays into a factor of how H. Holmes like built
Got
his
away with it.
hotel, because he would literally like take these plans and he would have pay extra workers to kill, like accidentally drop cement block on this guy's head who found that he was building like a trap door in his basement. And so like those parts were those were really interesting, but then they kept going back to like the Chicago architecture, which was like cool, but it was also just kind of hard to get through at points. But I really hope that they show some of the Chicago architecture, which is cool because it's showing the hustle and bustle of like a up and coming city of like they're doing like the World's Fair and stuff. But again, yeah, they do a lot of architecture stuff. But I really
So-
want to see a lot of like the murder and like the devious. He was really like quick witted and like a sharp tongued guy. So he was like really able to like manipulate and like really just simple people, especially because like trains were coming and going and people would get killed by just the train like 2 a day, like constantly,
That
because
shit
people just
still
like didn't have
happens.
like right. It's crazy.
The Metro gets fucking stopped all the time because somebody was on the tracks.
By the
It's
way
crazy.
you described that book, Brick, it sounds like in your mind when you're reading it, it was either ooh, or it was lame as fuck. It was either
No,
one or the
'cause-
other.
No, it was cool because they were talking about like Chicago fire and how they had to like rebuild everything, and there's like good Chicago history, so I was like interested in it. But like for
But
now,
architecture.
someone not from Chicago would not be as interested in something like that.
I wonder.
I mean, the architecture is one of the most interesting things about our city.
No, it
The
isn't.
they're the first skyscrapers, is what they were kind of
That's
talking
true.
about. So
The Dark Knight being shot, especially on
Lower
the Chicago
Wacker.
border, Lower Wacker
Wacker.
and LaSalle.
That was
That's the
great,
most
but
interesting.
also architecture is boring, and I don't care
Mhm.
about it.
but I'm in for Keanu and Leo.
I feel like we've never seen them against each other, so fuck yeah, why not?
Hell yeah.
But anyways, I've been going downtown a lot lately, and it's weird. It's still not. It's definitely not anywhere near what it was. I don't know, Mark, if you've been down there, other than C2E2, that's not really downtown. That's like beyond downtown.
How much farther is your drive now that you're going out of the way to drive by O'Hare just to scout out for Mothman before you go into the city? Does
I
that take
ride
a
my
lot
bike
longer?
out there because I'm kind of like Rocky getting ready for a fucking fist fight. I'm going out
that's-
there. I got my gloves like tied together and thrown over my shoulder. I'm ready to
You
go.
got your
man.
binoculars, a fucking notepad. You're like fucking laying out details of how you're gonna attack him. You're just like, "Ooh, if I approach him from that corner,
I'll fucking.
That's how close Mothman is. He's a
I'm
bike
getting
right
all
away.
psyched up now. You can't do this to me. All right. Fuck it. Let's talk about something else. Let's do recommendations. Why not?
Here's some money. Go see a Star War.
Mark, you've had some, I don't know, screen time, I guess, on an airplane. What have you been consuming recently?
Harley Quinn season 3 is back, and it has been, consistent with how good it's been for the last 2 seasons. So I'd recommend that. And there is a new Pearl Harbor documentary on Netflix. Not to bore you all too much,
Ben
but I
Affleck?
really enjoyed that. No, not Ben Affleck.
What the
Or
fuck, man?
what's the
Josh
better looking
Hartnett.
guy in that? Josh Hartnett. Yeah, he's not in that, unfortunately.
Cuba Gooding Jr. was in that. He was the chef,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How many
Hold on,
times
there's
have
one
we
more
talked about
recommendation.
that dumbass movie on this podcast? Just because, one, it's
Pearl
your
Harbor?
wife's favorite movie, and two,
Yeah.
it was my ex-girlfriend's favorite movie, and that was why I
My
realized that I didn't want to date her anymore.
One of my sister's favorite movies too.
Oh no! I'm so
Yeah.
sorry, Lauren.
Are you saying I made the wrong decision, Smithers? Marrying
No.
my wife,
You
dude?
definitely-
Wow,
you
Smithers.
Definitely. I think that she made the wrong decision in saying yes.
I'm kidding. We all know that's not true.
Anyways, Brick, what have you been doing?
Blackbird's
Other than
been pretty good.
multiverses?
Multiverses and Blackbird's been pretty good. That's with Taron Egerton. He's trying to infiltrate the jail in order to get a confession from a serial killer in order to get his freedom. It's been pretty good. I think it's a mini series, so there's only 6 episodes, and I think the final episode released yesterday. And then the rehearsal, obviously, that's fun.
All right, let's talk about it. I watched the first 2 episodes, and boy, it is a rough watch.
It fucked you up.
Cringe.
Okay, can somebody else explain the premise, because I'm so fucked up by the entire viewing of this.
It only gets more deep because he goes deeper into the characters himself. Okay, so let me start over. He is talking about doing a rehearsal for a certain event in people's life that gives people anxiety about it. So he's like, well, we'll make the exact replica of that situation, go through best case scenario, worst case scenario, up, down, this, that, and the other. And they just do a million different versions of it. And so then when he finally does it, it's not, he like gets all the variables. But the show kind of evolves into how Nathan kind of is like making up this theory or this Nathan Fielder method of acting, of trying to like, it's just a weird, it's evolving in a different way of, I don't even know. It's going into a rabbit hole of itself. And I can't even, if you watch it, it makes sense. If it doesn't, I don't know.
All right.
The
so
reason
I
it's
think
so
you did
great,
a pretty good job is setting it up.
Mhm.
So he's basically like taking on the job, and it's basically like Nathan For You, if you've ever seen that, but he's being hired to help people with situations where they're not comfortable. Okay. But at the end of the first episode, when he was helping this dude, I felt like it was so fake at the very end. And I feel like this isn't really a spoiler because you're either gonna watch it or you're not gonna watch it. But when he was telling Nathan to just like fuck himself, I was like, all right, either this is the fakest shit I've ever seen, or it's the angriest someone's ever been over literally nothing.
I think it's the latter.
I can't
He
keep watching.
picks-
Just 2 episodes,
he-
like I'm done.
I'm powering through because I believe in there will be a payoff in the end of how ridiculous this all comes to play.
Wait, hold on. Back up. What are you talking about? Are you talking about the first episode?
Yeah.
Because he's in the alley and it
Completely
just pans
changes.
to him and he say something just outrageous and like you're like, oh my God, how's he gonna react? And it's an actor because he's trying to set up or predict like how the situation's gonna go. But then when he actually asks him, doesn't the guy not really give a shit? That's how I remembered it.
Maybe I stopped paying attention before the end of the episode, but in one of the cuts, it was either the actor or the actual guy that just basically tells him like, "You ruined my fucking life."
That was
Yeah.
the actor, dude.
Okay, well, whatever.
No, because
You missed that.
you missed it. There's
that.
because Nathan's
perfectly
rehearsing
honest.
Nathan's rehearsing for himself. That's why it's so like fucking a rabbit in a hole. You're just
I had to
alley.
be working while I watched this, just because I was so like I had to have some sort of distraction in order
Wow, what a
to be
coward.
able to stomach this.
Dude, that's why I was confused. I'm like, you
You
thought
can
the
show me-
actor, you were
The most fucked up horror movie, like the most gore fest bullshit. But this cringy stuff, man, I can't do it.
that's why it's the best.
Okay, so
It's
you're a sicko.
Nathan, as usual, per usual, awkwardly trying to mitigate a situation with the most awkward people that he's trying to help in the most awkward fucking situation possible is what it is, and it's fucking amazing. Love it.
The last two
It's the
episodes.
best.
So you're caught up, right, Mark? You're caught up.
I didn't finish the episode 2. We were in bed and Kelly's like, "What the fuck are you watching?" And I like, this was right at the end of the first episode.
can't
The second
explain that
episode,
show to somebody,
the
man.
second episode started, and she's like, "Wait, what are they doing with that baby?" And the guy's like climbing a ladder through the window, and she's like, "You got to turn this off. I don't know what the fuck you're looking at. It's so outrageous. I love it though."
When they just,
so
like, snuck
stupid.
in and replaced the fucking baby.
Seamless.
So dumb.
But he keeps trying to make it as authentic as possible, which is he keeps building on it to the point where
The
he's rehearsing
explanation.
himself. And so
The
it doesn't.
explanation later in the episode for why they had to swat the baby out is so much funnier than actually watching it happen.
Yeah, I can't believe you're out on this show. I can't believe you're done.
I don't know.
You need hold on, stop. You need to go back to episode 1. Dude, you need to do yourself justice and rewatch the last 10 minutes. And you need to see how funny that last scene is. Because you probably were looking down at your computer or something. You thought that was the actual guy. The fact that he was rehearsing this conversation, which actually didn't end up being a big deal at all, was like, dude, it was the perfect fucking cherry on top.
I
It was
100%
perfect.
agree with you. I think that's a great suggestion, and I will go do that. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Thanks.
I recently found out, because I have Xfinity Internet, that I have a Peacock subscription, and that means that I had a backlog of shit that I should have been watching, like MacGruber.
Gruber.
I fucking I don't know how this is different cringe than Nathan Fielder, but it is somehow, because this is fully scripted, I guess, and Nathan Fielder feels like kind of semi-realistic. I don't know what it is, but I mean, the show is perfection. If you've never seen the feature-length movie, I think it's one of the best Saturday Night Live adapted movies that was ever made. And I feel like that's saying quite a
Interesting.
bit, because that includes like a pantheon of fucking awesome movies.
SNL movie draft would be an interesting one to maybe start the new draft on.
Okay. Yeah,
Something to
maybe
think
we'll
about.
get to that.
We are changing the rules of the draft. We can get to that later, but go ahead, finish your thought.
Yeah, so that's basically it. Is I've been trying to catch up on that, and also Only Murders in the Building is back with Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez. I love the show. I watch it with my wife. It's kind of like the one we sit down and actually watch together. it's interesting to see how they're going to try and raise the stakes for another season, because you kind of felt like, oh wow, this is a bottle episode, kind of
I
like,
haven't
hey,
seen.
this
I haven't
all
seen
wrapped
it.
up. I'm sorry.
I haven't seen it. What do you watch it like? Shout out to Daryl.
I honestly, I think you watch it like a mockumentary of a podcast. Like, do you remember what was the Netflix one, the American Who Drew the Dicks?
Oh right,
Mm.
yeah.
But
American
like
Scandal.
much more serious. Like, still funny, but also that kind of like making fun of Sarah Koenig for doing the podcast and shit.
Okay. Okay.
Well,
Scandal.
American Scandal. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
I got that off my chest. All right, so I'm gonna play a drop here, and we're gonna get this out of the way. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you have a champion for our, I guess, first actual official one draft series. This is season 1, I suppose. That we'll say
It was definitely season
congratulations
2.
to Brick on cheating your way to this victory. So we will pick a punishment movie that Mark and I will both have to watch. Maybe we'll both do some hallucinogenics and watch it together and record that. I don't know.
That'd be fun.
Well, it depends
I'll
on the
allow
movie,
that.
doesn't it?
It definitely does.
Brick's
Maybe that
punishment
Guillermo del
actually
Toro movie.
it actually
On
becomes like a
LSD.
life-changing event for us. We get so like rocked on acid watching this movie. We
Tripping
have like
balls. I'll
So-
find something.
that would never happen.
Yeah.
Open
So,
your
anyways,
suggestions too.
we wanted to kind of like put a little cap on that season. So congratulations to Brick. And we will have that punishment and review subsequently. We're trying to refine how we do this, and I feel as though only having a Twitter poll, and we kind of talked about this before, only having a Twitter poll is kind of exclusionary to some people who may not have Twitter, may not see the tweet. So we're talking about ways to involve, more specifically, people who are interacting in the Discord, because that's something that we try to promote specifically. That's a good place for actual discourse.
And it means
So-
the most to us. Truly,
well,
means
I
the
think it's
most.
the place where we have the most conversation about what we do. By the way, I just wanted to point out that last month,
Draft for the people.
July 22, was the most downloads we've ever had, ever. So I want to say I appreciate all of you for that. And
Hell yeah. Round of applause to you guys,
awesome,
the listeners.
awesome to have new listeners. Sorry we missed you last week, but Jesus, life is hard.
Wasn't
Hey,
I
we're doing-
out all last month, dude?
We're gonna review the Gary Man.
Are we sure?
Yeah, we'll give a Gary Man review. It'll
All
be
right, we'll
short
do
and
a
sweet,
Gary
I'm
Man
sure.
review. Anything
Sucked.
else we want to talk about before we move on to our reviews? Because
My other recommendation is something to look forward to is the League of Their Own coming to Amazon Prime. I think that actually looks really good. Looks really entertaining. I believe crud. Who's Ron Swanson? What's his actual
Offerman.
name?
Nick Offerman.
Nick Offerman. Thank
Offerman.
you. He's playing the Tom Hanks role as the manager. I believe Abby from
Mm-hmm.
what is that movie? What is the show? Broad City,
Yeah,
and also from Enchantment, right? She's also the lead in Enchantment.
Disenchantment. Yeah.
Disenchantment. She's also in it. We also have the person from the. Oh my goodness, I'm so
We're
high right
so
now.
good at talking about
I'm
this.
so high right now. Oh my
The
goodness.
Jumpcast is a movie
So good at
podcast.
Good
talking about
place.
Tune
movies and
in
TV.
weekly to learn more about
Look,
movies.
we're
and
Janet
all-
from the Good
stars in them.
Place.
We're all
That's
at the
what it
end of
was.
our fucking ropes on this Sunday night. Like, I know we're all so swamped, except for Mark, who just does everything he wants at the most fun.
Fuck you.
God, I hate you
But-
so much.
Also, I'm the best.
Anyway,
Darcy Carden. Darcy Carden's in it. She's Janet from
Jan.
Janet from the Good Place.
Okay, let's do a couple reviews right now. Brick, you wanted to do the Gary Man for some fucking reason. So this is the movie that we were supposed to review last week, and it sucked so bad that I was like, fuck it, we're canceling the episode. That's not really what happened, but I feel like that's the story that we should go with. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, that's fine. Brick, I would like you to tell the listeners the story behind Gary Man because I feel like that's a little bit of an inside joke.
No, it just was so bland and boring. It doesn't deserve even the color gray. It just deserved Gary.
But in college, didn't we used to call anyone that wore a gray shirt with a
Gr-
gray sweatpants?
If you were
would
wearing
call them
basically,
Gary.
yeah, Gary. Oh, look at check out Gary over here, and and then that evolved to if you were wearing all blue, you'd be Barry, and then if you were basically if you were
So
wearing all
funny,
one
dude.
color, it was so stupid. It was so
That's
yeah.
the
Check out
funniest
Gary
fucking
over there.
story I've ever heard in my entire
Gary
life.
the
Thank you
Gray
so much for
Man.
telling us.
And to be fair, I didn't even bring it up originally. We had to jog the memory.
I had
in
to
the
pry it
Gary
on
scene.
you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Tell me
fuck.
this
All right.
terrible story.
We're going to knock out 2 reviews right here. One of them is going to be The Gray Man, which came out on Netflix last week, currently at 46% on Rotten Tomatoes, 91% from fans. Boy, that feels
Shut
like
up.
a bunch of bots out there just fucking updooting this.
Ugh.
No joke. Yeah, 91%. So this was a real piece of shit, huh?
I've never seen such a stellar cast be so blah. Like
Oh,
I remember
sure you
watching.
have.
I'm sure but I don't know. You get that kind of star power. You think it's going to be something original and fun and cool, and it just seemed like bland. Like nothing. They had like all the fireworks. It was like good in theory, bad in practice. All the action scenes just seemed like, oh, we'll do it on top of a fireworks show so you can see like all the fireworks in the background. But then it just ended up being super smoky and not really seeing the cool combat. I don't know, just felt like a very smoky. Just it was like more distracting and disorienting than it was cool action scenes.
Who does Chris Evans look like with his mustache? Like name an old. Is it Jim Carrey in Me, Myself, and Irene?
That's a pretty good one.
He
That's a
looks
pretty
like
good
an
comparison.
Italian bro that would be working like this sub shop downtown where you go get like your meatball sub or your deli sub.
Oh, you watched
And
The Bear, didn't you?
Yeah.
It's interesting though. This was directed by Anthony and Joe Russo, who have given us some great movies. The Russo brothers obviously did the Avengers films and whatnot. This though, you've got Ryan Gosling. We talked about Chris Evans. Ana de Armas is incredible. I have nothing bad to say
She's the
about her.
best. The best.
Look, all-star cast. The writing should have been better. It just felt like. You even had a source material. This was based on a book series that people love, and apparently this was just so boring. You had to just immediately believe that Ryan Gosling is your Mary Sue. You don't see any of his training. He's just, all of a sudden I'm a piece of shit, and then the next moment, cutscene, now I'm a world fucking renowned assassin.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I know Chris Evans tried to like be different than Captain America, I guess, with adding a mustache and being evil, kind of. But I don't know. He
Not
just
having
didn't
a
make
shield,
it
yeah.
perfect. He just didn't really make a good villain. He was fine. He was fine. But the whole movie was just like fine and boring.
The kind of villain that Chris Evans needs to play is the one from Knives Out, where it's like a psychological villain, not
Right.
whatever the fuck this is. Also, he was like, he crossed that border of like he's so comedically evil. Like I'll do literally anything, and like I will murder my grandmother to do whatever I'm trying to accomplish. Like it was beyond belief.
Yeah, and it was actually so funny. The whole concept of it is like the gray man. They work and operate in the gray zone where the CIA can't do anything, where he can kill anybody. And it's just like the biggest terrorist moves of all time is just like a train's exploding because all these assassins are after one guy and just like taking care of dozens and dozens of buildings in a huge town. Just like, nobody. They're in the gray zone. Nobody noticed. They work and they operate, and nobody notices how good they are.
This really
fucking.
is just
What are you talking about?
an interdimensional cable episode of the Gary Man. Like your name's Gary, but I'm also Gary, and who's the most badass Gary?
There can only be one Gary. I'll get other Garys to fight you, but I'm the one true Gary man.
Dude, Chris Evans was like if Captain America had a brother named Thad that was evil. That was basically the character he played. I couldn't like remove myself from him being Captain America, but still I'm like, dude,
Same.
you're
Well,
not selling anything here.
they
Like,
hammer it over your head. The
Yeah.
creators and directors of Captain America, the Winter
Yeah.
Soldier, and Captain America, the Civil War. They're just like, all right.
I mean, in their
And then,
defense,
like,
those are the best Marvel movies, like the Avengers.
I agree.
movies and
It is.
but
Thad
I-
Rogers.
this
The
one,
the trailer was just better than the movie. The trailer was awesome. The movie was boring.
100%. Anything else to say on this before we move on to the next movie?
I haven't done a skip it on a Netflix movie, I feel like, in a while. I feel like I always just give it a save it because I'm like,
It's-
why fucking not?
they're
But
so
I will tell you
accessible.
skip this one. Yeah.
Right?
I-
I'm even now having a hard time saying skip it, but definitely skip it.
Definitely skip it.
They're gonna make a sequel to this, though, right? And we're gonna end up watching it.
Party Pug, evil Captain Thad would definitely punch sandwiches. I will admit. You're right on that.
Wow. Just peas in a pod, huh, Mark?
Peas in a potty.
Pieces of shit. All right, let's talk about the better of the two movies that we saw in the last 2 weeks. Bullet Train, starring Brad Pitt. So this is currently also rotten on Rotten Tomatoes at 54%, but at 77% from fans. I think that's fair. This is basically a popcorn flick because there is no actual plot. Right? It's kind of just like weird happenstances of a guy who has really bad luck.
It kind of gave me Lucky Number 11 vibes, where it's just like a bunch of series of coincidences, but also unveiling like some sort of mysterious end all be all answer, you know? So I really enjoyed it. Actually, I thought they did great with cameos. I thought the comedy was on point with the pacing of the movie. It was cool original combat. You know, you just have that like train close combat style. It's always going to be interesting because it's like a minimum amount of space, but like what you can do creatively through each cart is like interesting, and how they kept the story flowing. And then it just kept like a series of coincidences and just like Chekhov's gun style of things just kind of kept happening and then going over and over again. And it was a fun ride. I'm going to say see it.
So before we get into the nitty gritty here, let's do a few things. So this is directed by David Leitch, who also was of John Wick fame. So this is going back to the original John Wick. He directed those, and now he's attached his EP on all of them. But this is
He
supposed
did
to be
Atomic Blonde.
right. But this is supposed to be like that sort of up close, hand to hand combat type of thing. I felt that that was the one thing that this movie was really lacking, was more of that. And they focused a lot more on kind of dumb jokes that were a little bit cheap, maybe in my opinion. Brad Pitt was good, not great, but yeah, I think Brick, for the most part, I echo your sentiments there. Mark, give me your overall thoughts, and then maybe we'll get into some of our more minute opinions.
Yeah, I don't think this was Brad Pitt's greatest greatest role, I guess I'll say, but I think he is the star of this whole movie because whenever his scene,
fuck.
yeah, well,
I
whenever
loved
his
him in this
scenes-
movie. I loved him in
his-
this movie. I thought it was great.
and he just had I appreciated how his background is like this guy who has, is it extremely bad good luck, or would it technically be extremely good bad luck? I don't know, but every time he's in a situation, it sucks the things that happen to him, but at the same time he fucking just gets by somehow without dying.
But he's
And-
going through like deep therapy, so he like keeps bringing that up in a certain way, and I thought that was an awesome, interesting way to kind of portray an assassin style person.
Mhm.
And also just his facial acting was great too. Some of those in the quiet scene with
Brian
who was the
Tyree
other
Henry.
actor? Yes, he was. They were in the quiet car, and just like some of the facial
Mhm.
acting that they did was, I thought, hysterical, honestly.
I
And it was
want
just
to
an
talk
eclectic group of people.
about Brian Tyree Henry, who I thought was the best part of this movie,
Yeah.
and not
I
really close.
Lemon.
So if
I
you
think
don't know, that is Paperboy from the Atlanta TV show. He put on his best British accent here, and he puts on a fucking show.
I looked at you when he started talking in his like first scene, and I could tell you were just like, "How the fuck is this gonna go?" And then like you just get into it. You're like, "All right, let's do." Like he sells the accent, even though we've seen him through all these different shows and movies, where this isn't his typical role of just this guy from the UK with a
Yeah, I know he
very
says
strong English accent. But he was
from
great.
the dirty South, Atlanta is one guy, and then he's literally like the Eternals. He's like a god. He's kind of all over the map in terms of like range, I guess.
Yeah, he's a
He was
really,
great.
really good actor though, and I just didn't see that, and he got more of a spotlight here, and his Thomas the Tank Engine stuff really spoke to me because I've been watching a lot of that more recently. So yeah, I don't know what else. I mean, we also have Aaron Tyler Johnson, who I actually really liked his character as well. We get a couple of misdirects there, but I think he held up his end of the bargain.
And Smithers, remember in the theater when I'm like, who was that girl from? Like, what did she play in the past?
The weird
Dude,
looking one, the plastic one.
the really evil
Prince.
little girl, yeah, Prince.
Prince.
Fucking weird.
She
Joey
was
King.
she was the younger version of Talia al Ghul in The Dark Knight Rises. Like she was in those few scenes where she was like climbing out of the yeah, fucking throwback. Deep
Yeah,
She was
I
cut.
also
never
in
would've-
Slender Man.
Yeah.
Never would have connected those, but okay, all right, that's
We also
very
had Bad
interesting.
Bunny for all the Latin music fans out there. He's in
With
this.
quite the get up, by the way. That's
Mhm.
they did a pretty good job of like the up close combat not being too much shaky cam. This is another one where you kind of just have to take their word for it that Brad Pitt is a badass, even though he's apparently terrified of everything, which is fine. You can make that pass, right? Like he's still good at hand to hand combat. He just doesn't like guns. He
Mhm.
depends on his luck. I kind of expected there is an antagonist in this who kind of seems to rely on good luck. I kind of expected for that to pay off more in the end, and it didn't really seem to. Like the yin and the yang of that kind of conversation. Um, I don't know. Maybe they bring that back in another movie, but it just really felt resolved.
Yeah, and I also want to mention we do get a few cameos, even though they are technically mentioned in the cast in IMDb if you look it up. But I would recommend not going into the cast and be surprised if you want to watch this movie because there's some
Waste
what
of fucking two cameo. One
well
cameo
that's
is
why
pretty good.
because of how big of stars they are.
One of the which cameo I'm talking about was an absolute
Yeah.
waste.
Yeah, but it's so funny. It's like when Brad Pitt
Yeah,
showed
that's
up
so
in
funny.
Deadpool for fucking 2 seconds. and
Exactly.
people are
I
like,
think that's
I wish there was
awesome.
more, but it's funny.
That was awesome. Yeah, exactly. It was a nice little nod. I was happy to see it. It was one little aha moment. You know what I mean?
I guess. Mark is definitely a diesel, says Party Pug in the chat. Yeah,
Amazing.
that honestly will stick with me. Is like picking people out for what they are. In
Yeah,
terms
and
of
then like
Thomas the
kind
Tank
of
Engine. Yeah.
Mhm.
actually, yeah, and just they did a good job of reading people. It was fun. I think one of my favorite parts was the quick cuts that they had. They did a lot of quick cuts in the movie, and they also kind of didn't just stay on the train. They did some cutbacks to like what Lemon and Tangerine were doing in wherever that was, Batavia
Budapest.
or whatever, Budapest. Yeah, and then
Batavia,
Batavia,
Illinois,
Yeah.
dude. Batavia, Illinois. They were fucking out in
It
Rockford,
was
bro.
crazy,
Strip my
dude.
beer out.
The quick cuts, I thought that was just well done. It wasn't just on a train. It was, but they made everything interesting. Back to the pacing. Batavia, Illinois was
We should
nuts,
just end
dude.
the review on
Tangerine and
that.
lemon.
dude.
Oh man. All right. I don't have anything else to say about this. We should probably wrap it up because I'm getting a little slap happy.
Wrap that shit up, eat.
I don't
Speaking
know.
of wrap it up, I did like the last thing I'll say is I did like how they wrapped up everything in the end because just know if you're going into watching this, you're going to be asking yourself a lot of questions like, wait, how the fuck did that just happen? Just know it will come to fruition. You'll find out why, but you just have to kind of just let things ride for a little bit. And then at the end, it does wrap up pretty nicely. I like the way it wrapped up, at least.
Same, I'm fine with it too.
So I know that I'm not always the biggest Sandra Bullock fan. I will say that she looked the best that I've ever seen her look in this film.
Why is it always her looks?
It's
Yeah,
not.
some
It's
people.
not because
Wow,
honestly,
It
she's
is.
no,
Every
it
time
isn't.
you're like, I hate the way she fucking looks when she
No.
talks, and you're just like,
That's not even remotely true.
then why'd you immediately
I
bring
do
up
it
her
with
looks?
runs. I do it with runs, dude. It's fine. People run fucking
well,
weird, and I'm like, yeah.
It's
like
not
the guy with
about,
the
it's
mole
not about
from
how
Old.
she looks. I just thought she looked great in this film. So that's all I was
Okay.
trying to say.
It's very nice of you in the most
Fuck off, Mark.
previously unnice way that used to be about her, but
Yeah, you're just such a piece of shit. All right. Next week on the Chumpcast, I don't know what we're doing. What's coming out? I'm going to be gone. So you guys are on your own. Fuck you.
fuck. All right. I don't know what we're doing. I don't know if there's something we're going to actually be doing. We'll see, though.
You better fucking figure it out. Because we had the
Check
most
it
downloads
out.
ever last month, and we can't just fucking stop now.
Dude, we did skip last week after like an epic week of downloads. We were like, all right, fuck
Yeah,
it.
again.
What do you think's going to hold us back this time? Like,
I don't know. I'll probably get hit by a truck.
all right, we'll try.
God, if only. Can you imagine the settlement money?
Brick, just fly in
That'd be so
for the week.
Got it. Movie's releasing next week. We're about to find out, ladies
I'm
and
just
gentlemen.
Fucking daydreaming about getting hit by a bus.
Sounds real
Okay.
nice.
Yeah, sick, dude.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So until next time.
Jumps out, motherfucker.
Oh, man. Who the She-Hulk releases.
No.
Sometime. I don't even know if it's even coming out this week or next week. We don't.